Coleman's Homebrew.
Coming at you.
With a beer review. And today's the 700th beer review.
What? No way. 700.
Yeah. What's really funny is I've done well over 700 beer reviews. Probably in the neighborhood of 750, but the fact is that many of them, I didn't like them. They didn't record well. The beer wasn't that good.
Stuff happens.
Or I just got lazy.
No.
And disregarded them. But as far as recording purposes, this is going to be the 700th beer review. Now, I put a lot of thought to what I might do. And my first thought was, I should go with a classic beer. But something like Old Guardian. This is like 2014, I think. And I mean, this one is aged a long time, been around long times. Everyone knows Stone.
Good stuff.
I could go with or a white whale. I could go also though with a classic beer, and
there you go.
Bourbon County Stout. That's the 2023. That's as current as it gets. I also could have gone with the same place that the beer we're going to do is from, which is Fremont Brewing, and this particular beer is good, but I could have got a newer one. I mean, Fremont makes some great beers, but the thing about that is that so many of these great Fremont beers right now go for like $29 to $30+ a bottle.
And they're definitely worth it.
They're really good. But the fact is, I think some of the things that I really love is when I bring a beer that's like what I think is great value at a very reasonable price. And so after some consideration, Colin didn't know in advance.
I like surprises.
I came up with this right here. This is the Melange 2023. This is really fantastic. This is a marriage of select vintages of the Rusty Nail, not like the drink you might get, at a bar, but the beer from Fremont Brewing, the Rusty Nail, which is a great beer, has some cinnamon added.
Absolutely.
And Colin's had it. He had to think a bit, but
I've been there, and it's a tasty one.
It's a good beer. So they take different vintages of this, blend this together, and they add a porter that's specially made to go with this. And instead what they make is a Cuvee. It's a barrel-aged Cuvee, and they're classifying it as an American strong ale. This is 10% ABV and 50 IBUs, and I have to be really honest about this. I did a little trip up north of Seattle, and on the way back I stopped at Fremont Brewing, and I had it on tap.
Oh, how dare you? Without me? Fremont is such a great place to visit. If you're in the area, I suggest you do it.
So without further ado, we're going to get into the 700th beer review I'll have posted. It's going to be the Melange 2023 from Fremont Brewing out of Seattle, Washington.
Oh, look at that pour. Oh, man.
Nice and dark.
Yeah. All right, so let's take note of this thing. This one's got a few malts in here. We've got a 2-row pale. We've got brown malt. We've got Munich. There's Crystal 60, Crystal 120, Carafa 2. There's some roasted barley, black malt, chocolate malt, and of course, flaked oats.
And as far as hops go, what I really love on the hops is you've got the Willamette, Columbus, Cascade, Chinook. So the Willamette plus the 3 C's for the Northwest. And then finally you get some German. He's liking it already. It's the Hallertau Mittelfrüh. Wow, you poured up to the top. You can even be able to get your nose in that. But look at the head.
Yeah.
Show them that
Look
head.
at this. Look at that. That is dark. It is black. You're not seeing through it. The rocks on there are fine, but they're dark, dark brown. Oh, man.
That is what you call a mocha head on there.
We've also got some licorice and some cinnamon bark on this thing.
That's true. We do. We've got some adjuncts in there, which is wonderful.
All
Cheers.
right.
Let's get
I'll get
the
a nose on there. Man.
We don't share with geese.
It's not helping. It's basically a fridge out here, too. But
I did get a hint right away, though, of the cinnamon bark, which is just a little bit different quality than cinnamon itself.
The cinnamon bark is different from like a ground cinnamon. It's a bit more subtle, but I'm definitely getting those malts in there. It is, oh man.
And that's quite a list of malts. That's not, granted, whatever their porter's made of. I'm assuming that the black malt is part of the porter, because that would be classic for a porter. But I'm starting to get what I would consider a dark chocolate coming off of it. And now I'm starting to pick up on vanilla.
The chocolate we're getting on there, it's almost like a cacao more than a dark chocolate, honestly. It doesn't bring that sweetness forward.
Right. Like a semi-sweet chocolate and dark chocolate.
Like a dark bittersweet.
Absolutely. So since I've enjoyed this previously, I'll let Colin get into the sip and give you the first descriptions, and then I'll join in.
Ooh.
I know this is going to fall within his wheelhouse.
Oh, man.
This did aid in the choice, knowing that he would do this with me.
Chocolate immediately, cinnamon immediately. Just that dark, robust mouthfeel. You get some of that vanilla, like a vanilla flavor coming in, like right behind it. I'm not quite getting any licorice yet, but that is a porter to... Oh, man. That's a porter. That's all I can say.
So, you know, it's classified as American Strong because you've got a porter mixed in with these imperial stouts. The addition of this porter gives it those darker tones that you get out of porters, right? Porters have less chocolate and less sweetness, and so you, again, that black malt that comes in.
Yeah.
And it gives that really dark impression where I like your
So
description,
rich.
porter.
It's just so rich. I know it's a strong ale, and I do get a bit of that rusty nail in here. It's been a while since I've had the rusty nail, and I think it's that cinnamon coming through on that, and maybe a little bit of licorice. Man, that is so enjoyable. It's got a sweetness, but it doesn't flatten you out. It's a full body. It's not a heavy mouthfeel, but it's not light. It sits there, it lingers for a moment, it leaves you with a different note than when you first tasted it. The flavor is almost slightly different than the aroma, but honestly, they're very similar.
We did invite Christian to be here with us, and he's experiencing a newborn, you know, and scheduling and stuff.
It's rough.
And one of the reasons I want to review it is because, like I said, the price tag is reasonable, but I think that any place that you could potentially get Fremont Brewing beers, you're going to be able to find this. I bought a can actually about 3 weeks ago, and I went out to get a second can so we both could enjoy a full 16 ounces, and no problem finding it. And I wanted something that people could maybe get their hands on for this review to enjoy.
Absolutely.
Yes, the mouthfeel on this is wonderful.
It's almost got a velvetyness to it, honestly. It's not on nitro, but it almost seems like they might have used nitrogen somewhere in the brewing. I mean, it's the bubbles in it are just so fine.
Yes. I think the other thing I love, I'm getting a little more of that cinnamon bark coming through, the cinnamon bark being not so strong on cinnamon and more on the earthy side, which is great. And then the other thing, though, is that vanilla is coming through, and at points, I feel like I get almost a hint of like a coconut aspect coming on it from that vanilla and the other sweetness that comes through.
I could almost see that in Fremont. When I hand it to you, you guys did a good job making that porter for the rusty nail to marriage this.
Being in the Northwest, Fremont has really become, I think, the pinnacle place for barrel-aged beers these days for us in the Northwest.
And as this is warming up, I'm almost getting that bite with the licorice, that anise kind of a flavor to it. Which is fun.
And it's light. It's very subtle, actually, but it's there. I think what we'll do is we'll take a little break on this and come back.
Definitely.
We apologize for lighting, but we've been enjoying ourselves.
We've been talking about beers, rusty nails, the rusty nail porter mixture beer, all sorts of things.
And Drambuie, for example. You know, what the heck?
And it got dark, but we've been enjoying ourselves.
We have. But this, you know, as much as it can warm out here, this has changed, and so that's always worth noting.
Absolutely. The licorice is definitely more forward now. You can definitely taste that a bit more.
I still like that the cinnamon, the cinnamon bark, right? It's kind of just hung in there, just like a neutral level. It doesn't take over or go away whatsoever.
You can tell that it's cinnamon, but it's really just kind of that earthy note, which is actually really appreciated, because when you get really heavy cinnamon, sometimes it's too much and it's got a bit of a bite, which honestly would fight with that licorice. And these kind of aid to each other.
I think it's a hard thing to balance, quite frankly.
Yeah, absolutely. That chocolate has actually become more subtle. It's become more of a cacao. And there's still a bit of that kind of vanilla flavor, but that is also settled as it's warmed.
It all becomes this like subtle blend, like very smooth. And by the way, you know, a 16-ounce can, you can easily, we didn't, but you can easily split this, with somebody, enjoy a can. I'd say just get a 6-pack and save yourself some time.
No.
But great beer for sitting out. Start cold, let it warm up, enjoy the whole, journey as you go across how it changes. We're going to go into rating.
Dun, dun, dun.
And this is really hard because I really want to rate this as an imperial stout, not as a strong ale. But
And for me, I want to rank it as a porter, like an imperial porter, but it's
actually,
not.
it would probably be better as an imperial porter. That would probably be a more perfect category for me. It's a strong ale, and we're going to have to try to rank this in terms of style. So just know we're blending styles right now.
And we're
as
bluffing
we rate
it.
Yeah, absolutely. With a Cuvee, it all kind of is more subtle. It blends together.
Absolutely.
But it brings a different quality because it makes just for a very smooth beer. Very easy to drink.
Yeah.
Very smooth. I have to have a lot of respect for that. I am only jealous of the guys that get to work on the testing all the different versions. And this is a fabulous beer. I'm giving it, in terms of style, a 95.
Wow. I mean, honestly, trying to rank it as a strong ale. And strong ale has a fair amount of variation within it.
Oh, holy cow.
That's the hard part to rank it in, because I have to not think of this as an imperial porter or imperial stout or whatever else. As a strong ale, I'm going to go with a 92.5. It's, you got 90, it's an A and a quarter. So there you go. It hits all the marks of a strong ale.
I think overall, though, I'm going to stick it at a 94 still. I just respect how they've blended this beer, the whole concept of the beer and what they've done. Anytime that someone takes the time to create a beautiful cuvee like this, I got to give them an extra point.
And oddly enough, I'm going to come up to a 94 for overall from style, just because I love that first sip. Just set me reeling. Oh my gosh.
I knew it
There's
would.
the flavor. It's the velvety, mouthfeel to it. Everything. I could drink something like this all the time.
Thank you for joining us for our 700th beer review. Here it is. It's the Melange. It's the 2023. It's a barrel-aged cuvee, if you will.
It's a rusty nail. It's a porter. It's everything you want.
Great beer. I'd say it's still out there. Go find it. Grab it. Grab it now before more people figure it out.
Holiday season is coming. Knock over that grandma to get that one out of the fridge.
Set some aside for sure. I'm Kevin.
I'm Colin.
And we're saying life's too short
To drink cheap beer
and we'll see you
on the next beer review.